Hi, friends, and with a very somber note and deep hole in my heart, today I'm making this video as a tribute to Shane Warne. Normally, I'm very excited when I preview or review any test series or test matches, but today I feel I have lost my childhood in a way when I heard the passing away of the one of the greatest, if not the greatest cricketer ever to play this game, Shane Keith Warne. What a legend! And he was the reason why we got so excited to watch cricket in the 90s. We used to wake up in the morning to see those test matches in Australia. बहुत ही बुरा दिन क्रिकेट फैंस के लिए एंड what a legend, what an enigma Shane Warne was. Uh, I only started following his bowling from the 1998, Test series, which he played in India. There was a battle going on with Sachin, and in the same winter when Sharjah Cup was played, there again it was all about Sachin. But we have to understand that Sachin wouldn't have been Sachin if there was no Shane Warne. So we have to, you know, pay tribute to this great adversary, to this great competitor of Test cricket overall. So many things to talk about in his career, but I have picked 23 pictures that talk about the life and the work of Shane Warne. You may be wondering why 23, because 23 was his jersey number, which was also the jersey number of you know Michael Jordan, and he passed this jersey number to Michael Clark, who was his one of his favorite teammate. So I'm going to share these images now, and we'll go through these images and we'll talk about these images. So I have titled this series of images Imperfectly Perfect. So Shane Warne, he was not a role model. He was not a, a brand ambassador, but he popularized the game like nothing else. And he even didn't want to be a cricketer to start with. He had aspirations to play the Aussie rules football, and growing up in Melbourne, he always used to aspire to play Aussie rules football to, represent his local club in the AFL League, which is the Aussie Rules Football League. And it turned out that, after in his teenage years and very late in his teenage years, he turned towards cricket. So when he started out, his debut in 1992 is a story of the legend. He got smacked all around the park, and Ravi Shastri actually scored a double-hundred in this test, and his bowling figures were 0 for 152. And then came the shining moment from where his career had a inflection point, and that was the ball of the century that he delivered to Mike Gatting in the 1993 Ashes. And this ball is called the ball of the century because nobody still knows the science behind it. The ball turned so much, and it was great television watching. To watch this ball live would have been an amazing feeling, but I was too young to watch this on TV. But I've seen multiple replays on YouTube of this ball, and this is where the legend of Shane Warne started. Shane Warne then started dominating world cricket. He had a lot of bunnies like Daryl Cullinan, Richie Richardson, and also a lot of other players who he used to dismiss very easily, and he used to dominate. Being a spin bowler, he had the attitude of a fast bowler. He had great cricketing brain, and he used to decipher the play. He used to deduce the batsman's intention so well, and he used to bowl according to that. And he had the trickery with him to. He had so many variations, six different variations for in 6 different balls. He had the flipper, which was one of the legendary balls that he bowled, and uh, even though he didn't have a great googly, that flipper was so effective and took so many LBWs for Shane Warne. It just kept low and it was sliding on to the middle stump. And uh, then came the battle between Sachin and Shane Warne in 1998, and that was an epic battle in the Test series as well as the Sharjah series, where Sachin had the upper hand, and there was a claim that Shane Warne was having nightmares about Sachin, but it was not that true. 1999 is the year of Shane Warne, where he was the man of the match in the semi-final as well as the finals of the World Cup. I mean, amazing performance by Warne in these two matches, and throughout the tournament, he was so good. I remember in this tournament, India versus Australia, I was watching as this was my first World Cup, and Ajay Jadeja actually smacked Shane Warne for 22 runs, and I was wondering, wow, what a great batsman Ajay Jadeja is, because he just smashed one of the best bowlers for 22 runs in an over. Even though India lost that match, and Shane Warne again, he also took the wicket of Sachin in the 1996 World Cup, where Sachin, it seemed, will take India alone to the to an easy win, but there came Shane Warne again. Shane Warne was always a rebel. He was anti-establishment. He did not like Buchanan. He had his issues with Adam Gilchrist. He had his issues with Steve Waugh. Steve Waugh, he never liked Steve Waugh as a captain because Steve Waugh dropped him in one of the Test match in West Indies, where Brian Lara played a superb innings, because Steve Waugh thought that Stuart McGill was the better bowler. Of course, Shane Warne later proved him wrong, but he used to like the old school way of trusting the players, giving them the time to settle in, and he knew how to manage people, and he felt he was not being managed the way he would have managed himself probably, and that's why they say he's the greatest captain that Australia never had. So Shane Warne did not like team meetings. He did not like data analysis, statistics. That was not Shane Warne. He played the game like a game. It was batsman against the bowler, and it was all a mental competition and a physical competition, and that's all the sports is about. He did not complicate the sport unnecessarily. He was a cricketing royalty, probably the first cricketing celebrity that became famous. Of course, India had Sachin, but India did not have that visibility during the 90s as Australia had. And of course, Shane Warne became very famous. He had enjoyed a lot of county seasons in England, a lot of club cricket in England, and he became famous in England. And he became famous in non-cricketing countries. He had a photo shoot with Michael Jordan. He was one of the best friends of Coldplay lead singer Chris Martin, and he had a lot of celebrity friends, including Elizabeth Hurley, who he later on, was engaged to. The first big controversy that came in Shane Warne's life was getting banned from the 2003 World Cup because of the substance he took. It was a banned substance, and he claimed that he has taken it as a part of a cough syrup, which his mother had given to him. And there were a lot of personal attacks on his family and even his mother. And he felt very broken from this episode. He was banned for 1 year by Cricket Australia, and which he felt was quite unfair. And this was an episode, but still Australia did manage to win 2003 World Cup even without him. And that was probably the end of his ODI career, because he never had an extended run in ODIs after that. 2005 is where he came across the rising England lineup of Kevin Peterson, Michael Vaughan, Andrew Flintoff. He had mentored Kevin Peterson in county cricket, and when he came up against him, Kevin Peterson, both played very well in the series. I mean, this series would have been completely one-sided if not for Shane Warne. Shane Warne took 40 wickets in the 2005 Ashes, and that is an amazing series. So that's 5 test matches, 40 wickets. So it's almost, he's taking 8 wickets per test match. And one of the great regrets of Shane Warne's career was he was never able to get a test century. He got out on 99 to Daniel Vettori. That is a story for a different time. A broken family after the 2005 Ashes. He had some personal issues. There were footages of him having an affair, and he got divorced from his wife, and he lost his kids for a period of time. And that was a period he describes. He felt very, disengaged from cricket, and he felt that the sacrifices he had made for cricket ultimately cost him his family, which was the thing he loved the most, and he was very close to his family. This he has written in his book autobiography No Spin, which is one of the best autobiographies of a cricketer ever. He gained a lot of respect from his adversaries, Brian Lara, Sachin Tendulkar. Everyone respected him a lot because they knew he was such a brilliant sports person, one of the greatest of the game. And even though he had a bit of self obsessiveness, everyone respected him a lot because he was also generous in equal regard and cared a lot for people around him. The final farewell, that was his 2006-7 test. He claims that he was very nervous going into these test matches, and he used to smoke a cigarette after every session break. He was quite nervous, and he performed really well, especially the victory at Adelaide, where he got Australia the win from a near impossible situation. England had scored 600 something batting, and it looked impossible for Australia to win, and still they won this series 5-0, which was a great moment in Shane Warne's career to go when he's at the top of his game. That really boosted up him a lot because he had gone through a lot in the last 3 to 4 years. Best captain that never was. So now comes, he has retired from international cricket and now is the IPL. So he was made the leader of Rajasthan Royals. He was brought for a very small amount, but he developed this money ball game in IPL, which became very famous. And Rajasthan Royals, despite having no big stars, they only had Graham Smith, Mohammad Kaif. They still went on to win the trophy, and what an amazing achievement it was. And everyone was questioning whether he was the best captain that Australia never had, because no one expected, everyone expected one of the big teams like CSK, RCB with big stars to win. But here came Shane Warne with a bunch of youngsters, and the way he played the mentor in this team was amazing. The way he led this team was amazing. He gave nicknames to each players and motivated them, trusted in them, gave them chances, especially Yusuf Pathan, Ravindra Jadeja, Kamran Akmal, all these people he trusted a lot, and he was a great mentor. He developed Ravindra Jadeja as a all-rounder and trusted him a lot, and he credits the first win of RR to these youngsters like Ravindra Jadeja, Yusuf Pathan. He always was very great in giving the credit. He was never, he never he used to take the credit, but it was always very subtle. He on camera, he always used to, on the mic, he always used to give the credit to the youngsters of the team. One fascinating incident in Big Bash League was he was on the mic and Brendan McCullum was batting, and he just told the commentators how he will dismiss Brendan McCullum, and that is exactly how Brendan McCullum played, and that is how he got out. And that was beautiful to see the cricket brain inside Shane Warne work so well. He was a friend of the friends. He always had loyalty towards the players that he played, even though he sometimes disagreed with them, but he always used to have his team in the heart. He was a great first slip man, and here you can see they recreated this scene from the olden days where Shane Warne used to be the first slip, Gilchrist the keeper, and you have Ricky Ponting in the second slip, and you have Justin Langer in the third slip, and Matthew Hayden in the gully. This was the dream cordon, and then hardly ever dropped anything in this cordon. And he also stood up a lot for Justin Langer now, who was his mate. He was very outspoken and always supported the right people, he felt, who had a progressive mindset and played the game with fearlessness and a lot of heart. He was also the enemy of the enemies. There was a big controversy around Marlon Samuels, the way he sledged Marlon Samuels and the way Marlon Samuels behaved after this. This was an episode which should be forgotten, but this was Shane Warne. He was not perfect. That's why I call him imperfectly perfect. He was not a perfect guy, but the way he lived the 52 years of his life are almost perfect in a way. He had a great life and a great legacy that he has left behind. This was his second love. So he used to love his first wife a lot, and after the divorce, he was quite heartbroken, but he found love again in Elizabeth Hurley. This relationship did not last long, but he had a few years of solace with Elizabeth Hurley. His autobiography, one of the best autobiography, and I recommend every cricket fan to read, or sports fan, or from any sphere to read this autobiography, because it is such like the autobiography is no spin. It is absolutely no spin, and he's straight from the heart. He criticizes his teammates, but at the same time he loves them. He is that kind of a polarizing personality, really unpredictable and outspoken kind of a person, uh, who calls a spade, who carries his heart on his sleeve. He's that kind of a person. Obviously, he also, made a style statement always with his different hairstyles. He had a successful hair transplant, and he actually made hair transplant cool. He was always himself, never pretended, and he used to have a drink and have a smoke, and he used to live a full life. And the 52 years of his life, I know that except for the few turbulent times that he went through, he enjoyed his life to the full, and he lived a full life. So that's what makes me really happy about Shane Warne. And obviously, he's a legend of the game and the one who changed the game. A spinner who bowled with a fast bowler's attitude, who made spin cool. He was the king of the spin. He drew the crowds to watch the games. He drew the television audience. There are still, fans in the Melbourne Cricket Ground, which is his home ground. They still come with dressed like Shane Warne or chant his name, and he created this legend of himself in Australian cricket, probably very hard to surpass, and probably is the cricketer of last 25-30 years, apart from maybe Sachin Tendulkar, or I really love this guy, and he made cricket very watchable and very interesting on television. There was not even one single dull moment in the game when Shane Warne was ambling slowly to the crease and Adam Gilchrist was chirping, bowling Shane. And when then he took a wicket, he was so fired up like a fast bowler. And, it was just an amazing sight and a great thing to watch. So that is it from my side. Rest in peace, Shane Warne. You have lived a great life. You have inspired a lot of people, and the cricketing world and the cricketing world will remember you, not just the Australians. Your legacy will always remain, and your stats, those are unbelievable. 708 wickets, first man to reach 700 wickets. You were just amazing and a beautiful thing to watch when in full flow. So thank you, Shane Warne, from the deepest of my heart, and you made my childhood worth it. So thank you, and Goodbye.